Always got good answers. Just some are better than others.
Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to talk about Bounty. We're going to talk about the new calendar, probably. We got an update on Splash, which should be interesting. So, an update from Wednesday. Let's say hello to everybody. Magic Mike.
Hi, everyone. Happy Weekend Fridays. Or Saturday.
And KB.
Good morning, all.
Good morning. And Derpy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, except I have a murderous intent towards Bounty.
Yeah.
ain't the only one.
I was worried about you. There was like 4 hours where you couldn't buy any time limited offers.
Yeah, with all the gold that I've needed in the past year or two, with all the money I've been spending to X1 everything,
Yeah.
which is, let's see, carry the one, approximately 0. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the time limited offers.
Okay, just making sure you're back to normal at this point. So I'm glad to hear that there was no problems on your side. So let's go ahead with the slides, Mike. All right, I think KB is the only person. I'm not sure what happened to the Saint. His birthday was yesterday, but maybe he's still recovering from that. I don't know.
What's
Usually
he playing golf or something?
I don't know, but
I didn't think he was starting a campaign for office quite yet, but
yes. Well, let's see if we have any. I don't know. KB, you were the only one that didn't have any feedback on the bug fixes. Is there anything in here that you find worth discussing? Because Derpy and Mike were here, and again, the link's in the right-hand side. If anybody wants to join the show, we still got space.
No, I thought they probably had better things to do with their time, muck around with fixing submarines. I didn't really see that was much of an issue.
I could take a Hera warp, guard my base or an Alliance member's base, and just drive that around and never get hit because the Hera warp cannot be targeted by anything when it's moving.
Yeah.
So people were stockpiling like 900 medals and literally could not get attacked.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't call any of these a waste of time. I actually like the list of bug fixes. I may not necessarily agree with all of them because I don't do the whole base guard thing, but the rest of them I thought were pretty useful, except for the saw factory contact now says building instead of researching. Now it just says trap, but that was that's the only one. The rest of them I thought were useful improvements to the game.
Yeah, I was quite happy when I saw these.
Okay. If nothing else, we covered these all on Wednesday. So unless anybody has any questions from chat, that's the end of it because we covered them before. We got the May 2021 calendar. Pillage next week. Siegebreaker, Return to Honor. And then we have the raid May 12th through the 18th. And then Hold the Line, which is, TLCs. And then we have VXP Weekend, Titan. I mean, and they went back to Titanic.
They sure did.
I was surprised. I'm surprised that made it through. 2 months in a row. That is what's the right word for that?
Overkill.
Embarrassing.
Copy and paste. I don't know what the right word is for that, but yeah, Titanic is running again. I am curious about the plethora of megaship related TLCs? Is it to save server bandwidth because nobody's doing them?
So you want more mega? I don't know about.
No.
They just run the same thing over and over.
Well, what I'm saying is there's no. I don't know how many people are doing these mega ship things. So is this a economic move to cut down on server bandwidth to keep on running these things? Because I don't think people do them. I could be wrong. So the thing that's missing is murderous intent. I'm assuming that they tell the community manager last on all this stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in the May 23rd to 29th week.
I agree with that assumption.
Yeah, but we don't know until we know. I
asked the community manager. He doesn't know yet. He knows when we do. It seems like someone needs to do a better job at Kixeye internally of communicating with each other so we don't find out the day before the TLC when it happens. If I want to use my Ravagers in it.
But you're not going to want to use your Ravagers. So it's less of a, do you think you're going to want to use your Ravagers? Have you experimented with your Ravagers on that?
I have not, but other people said it doesn't work very well.
But I went in with 3 partials, and it wasn't pretty. I got out as soon as I could.
Yeah,
it seems like it does not seem like there is a lot of. Let me put it this way: on a scale of highly polished to throwing it out there with no regard for anything, we're a lot closer to the last one.
In regards to the calendar, or in regards to
in regards to the game in general, and highly polished, everything down to the tiniest detail, we're just cobbled together. We're a lot closer to cobbled together.
Okay. Alrighty. So I would not. It really doesn't matter this time around because I think the Photon ECM is probably going to be the preferable haul unless we see something crazy at X1. We're going to increase range to 98
plus 10,000% corrosive damage,
or increase the range. I think that would be the there's a 89 versus 98 range differential between the Photon and the Ravager. So that's causing you to sort of have to run by everything. Never upgraded my X1. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I've been meaning to bring that up for a while. We're a couple of months past the finish of the Proton ECM in the raid cycle, but they do continue to have these TLCs. Which one is for the Proton, Derpy? Is it Siegebreaker? No, it can't be Siegebreaker. Return to Honor is the Ronin. Do you remember? If you're speaking, you're on mute. Do you remember which one is for the Proton ECM?
I don't. This one, I always forget about this one. Something like faster than light, or I don't know what, but that's the engine.
Was it Cyberstrike?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, Cyberstrike. But what they continue to do is after that raid cycle's over, they run these TLCs that have 5 days of upgrade tokens. So it makes it, you may not want to do it because it's not part of the raid cycle anymore, but it makes these later TLCs much easier if you grab those 5 days worth of upgrade tokens, and they stack up to 10. So you can get them, a couple up to X1 by doing the TLC and not use any shipyard time. So, because I do see a lot of people on Discord like, all my ships, I know you aren't at Lego as far as, at U0, but I'm like, players have been in the game for years and years and like, oh, my ships are at U0. I'm like, well, you could have done the TLC. Some are more amusing than others and entertaining and shorter. This is not one of them. Murderous Intent is not one of my favorites. It has, has one too many of, a target with, or an encounter with like well over 100 targets to hit. And I just find it, it's too, it just feels like too much, personally. Especially once you get to the, the 7 encounters, because 5, 6, and 7 are, they take a long time, or they're very click intensive, if, for not a better word.
I think 7 is at least 10 minutes it takes you to get through that.
They're not very engaging targets. I'm doing the first time through right now. I'm in encounter 3. I'm not looking forward to this, to doing this the 7th time.
Yeah, it's, if they had one less of the U3 targets, I could see it. But they have like 3 U3 targets, or not what I kept, X targets. They have 3 X targets in there, and it's just boom, oh, it's annoying. So that would be helpful too. You pulled a mic on us, but yeah. If you're spilling upgrade tokens in the ocean and having problems with the upgrade level, that's something to look at. So alrighty. I don't know. As far as the calendar, I would just take a look and plan accordingly, because I assume the Murderous Intent is going to come out earlier. So let's go to the next slide. All right. I don't know how many people watched the Wednesday show, and it's good that Derpy's here, because Derpy did some experimentation on that earlier. And the previous slide had the rogue crews that you may want to use and whatnot, because my fear was that you would not be able to get your full damage over time transfer to a turret if you didn't have some sort of increased splash mechanism. And I timestamped the YouTube show when I was having that conversation to one of the people, one of the people fairly high up at Kixeye on the Battle Pirates team. And I had run with the assumption of turret was had a radius of 3, and I was told it was 12 across. And I'm going to go through a couple of steps here, and then we're going to talk to Derpy as far as how this matches up with his experiments. And I think it matches up pretty well. So okay, Mike, throw down these splash 15 shots. There we go.
So this is the worst possible scenario. You hit right at the edge, as far away as possible from the center of the thing you're actually shooting at.
Correct. And then I had run, if I put 1,000 circles around there, it would create a circle with a radius of 3. But that was me sort of begging the question to Kixeye as far as what is the size of this. And then I heard it was across, it was 12. That means a radius of 6. And one more click. So basically, even with the worst possible result, according to what I was told, you are still going to get 100% transfer of your damage over time to the turret without using additional splash specials or crews in order to accomplish that. And Derpy, you did some experiments regarding using like combustion system 2, but you were scaling things, and you were also doing things with Molotov maidens and other crews that add splash. And how does this line up with what you've seen?
So it's a bit weird because I didn't control the variables because Hefe didn't buy my coin like he promised this month. But I took in a ship, and it took 45 seconds to kill the turret start to finish. This ship had 4 weapons, no great specials on it, real partial. 45 seconds to kill the turret. Then I brought in the same exact ship with a Molotov Maidens crew, 45 seconds to kill the turret. Okay, same ship with a Hellfire Heathens crew, 45 seconds to kill the turret. And that last one just had splash with no spread modification, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and when we talked about it on Wednesday, the assumption was if the turret was a point in the center that actually didn't account for any area, it was just a single point, that without the splash specials, you would be hitting, you would get 70% transfer of damage over time. And if you used either Molotov Maidens or Hellfire Heathens or whatever it is, you would bump that up to 90 or 91 by the changes in splash and spread. But you didn't see, by using...
It took the same exact time with those crews to kill it as without. Yeah. Which makes sense now that the turret, my conclusion was something wasn't working right or the turret was larger, and it turns out the turret's larger. The other thing I did was I had one ship that I told you about. A second ship, this one had a combustion system 2 on it, but it also had 2 less multi-shot because it wasn't at U3. And that ship with less multi-shot, but combustion system 2, took also 45 seconds to kill the target, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering it's got less projectiles in the air. So I couldn't tell what was going on with that one.
But you also need to consider how many unused stacks because of that differential, where one has one had 4 and one had 2.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, the unused stacks that might have been on one versus another, or the fact that it was starting. I need to see the exact details to see how because it wouldn't be linear. As far as how that would work, because you need to consider the unused stacks in something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. My conclusion was I could not figure out if combustion system 2 helped or not. It seems like it might, and the thing that definitely I saw was the target nearby the one I was shooting at took more damage if I used more splash and more spread. So with combustion system 2, you're damaging more things, even if you're not decreasing the time to kill whatever turret you're shooting at. You're making its neighbor die more quickly. So there's that for sure is a benefit. How much will be important in the final target? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if adding more spread increases the damage.
More splash also would, but.
Well, yeah, there's no way to do it without the other, but the spread is the one that's
the crew, the one crew that just adds 10%, 12%, whatever it is, splash.
No, I'm saying there's no way to add spread by itself, not splash.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what I was talking about, and so therefore that spread is gonna, with the ratio of Molotov Maidens, increases the spread more than this, but basically if you want to put a splash spread special on, you need to make sure it increases the spread as well, because that's going to be more effective as far as transferring damage over time to not your primary target, what you're aiming at, but its neighbor.
Yeah, and normally that might be a bad thing, but with damage over time, it's a good thing.
Yeah. What about if a fleet got 135% splash?
I don't know enough just based on that alone.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a Conquer Hall. I mean, or you've given away so much. Yeah, you've given away so much as far as either multi-shot or supercharge that you are also probably losing out. So, yeah, more details. But yeah, if you have 135% splash, yeah,
135% is a lot different than plus 135%. Just if you were wondering.
You want to explain to Josh what that means?
Equals 135% means you only have a 35% increase off your original weapon. Plus 135% is more than double. So.
Okay. Now I got you. What the rock is cooking. And
it's just kickside math, you know.
Yeah. Well, as far as Josh, as far as what you would reasonably create to create that much additional splash, I'm assuming you're sacrificing more than it's worth as far as your outcome at the end of the day. That's my assumption. But yeah, without the details as far as what you're giving up in order to give that, and you're not going to be able to hit these targets with your FM fleet. So, because some of those are class specific, but in addition to the fact what you might be giving up, but it didn't come up. I didn't put a slide together. If we assume this is true, it sort of solidifies my specials for me. Is it the same with you, Derpy?
Yeah, it means combustion system 2 won't really be that helpful. So I really don't use it.
Well, I'm thinking explosive system or narrowed firing aperture is definitely not going to help you.
Yeah, right? those are definite no's.
Yeah, and combustion system 2 might provide a little bit transfer to the neighbors, but I'm not going to refit to put those on. I mean, because if you're way behind in your builds and you want to coin a lot of stuff, I might consider, dropping shaft splitter on a couple of ships that you don't have MDS3 on and putting combustion system on there. And that would probably be a better fleet than something that has shaft splitter on all of them, because now you're doing more damage to the neighboring turrets. But the original concern I had was how much damage you're doing to the primary turret, or the one that you're aiming at and trying to kill, and trying to maximize the amount of damage over time transfer to that target. Make sense?
I don't think my attention span's long enough anymore, but yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. KB, Mike?
Well, I'll probably say that as far as I can see, the intention is that you're going to keep moving. So the chances are you're going to be moving past both the turrets in any case. So you're going to get some sort of damage as you're going by in any case. So it's probably not going to be worth it to have the other special on it. If you're just in still, it'd probably be a better go. But if you're moving, well, you're going to hit it with your next in any case, aren't you?
But you're eventually going to hit it, but you're not going to hit it with as high of a percentage hitting the neighboring turret, because once you increase in combustion system 2, you're increasing the spread, the gray, and the splash. So you might be you might be, as opposed to, once you get that close to it, you might just be hitting the original turret. But as you move on, you might be hitting the secondary turret as well at a much greater rate. And without knowing the distance between the turrets and all that kind of stuff, it's difficult to say. But I'm not refitting in order to do that. So.
No, well, I'm certainly not going to go down that path at this point in time.
Long story short, most of us on here, at least talking right now, agree interception system is the best number 6 special.
Yeah, well, you probably got to mitigate some of the damage coming in, and that's going to be the best way to do it, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, yeah, and I always consider interception system to be the best 6 special, but like I said, I was contemplating replacing Shaft Splitter, especially if you're going to be somebody that's going to get the party like it's 1999 and get the deal. Is what's the trade-off between once you get to U3, your scatterguns are going to have a multi-shot of 11 or 12, depending on whether you have the scattergun or the shaft splitter on with the with the one additional multi-shot. So that was sort of the question. Would the splash over, make up for that 11 versus 12 difference? Was, what is that, like 8% increase in damage?
111, more like 9%, but yeah.
I said 8, but okay, 9. Okay, all right. What about the 5th? I'm not sure. Or is anybody going to plead the 5th?
Yeah. The 5th Ravager special. I'm running Green Barrel system. I think that's a very clear choice. If anyone here tries to use Corrosive Battery 2, I'm going to be very upset.
Along with Siege Targeting?
Don't use that one. No.
And Siege Battery?
No.
Okay.
I would go with Assault Battery first, but...
Yeah. Just so we make it clear, Derpy, do you want to share screen? Because I think we're of one mind as far as what the build is, at least in regards to specials. I'm not sure as far as
you're using the wrong weapons, but okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm planning to drive differently, but as far as the specials, Derpy's getting eaten by a lot of small dogs at the moment, so. Yeah, I'm going to 15 supercharge, and that's, I think, what we're going to talk about here. Derpy's on mute. It's hard to. So, all right, yeah, we have the Derpy, you back, or do you want me to explain what you're doing? Okay, we have the interception system providing 3 times supercharge, and then we have the Roaring Barrel systems adding 3 plus multi-shot, and then the acid fusion shells providing 6 times supercharge, which is huge. The engine is whatever. Shaft Splitter is only providing +1 multi-shot, and that's how we get to, if you look at his attack, +6 multi-shot on a base of 4. Yes, so that gets him to 10 and a supercharge of 15, Josh.
And then the U3 upgrade brings me up past that.
Yeah. And this is what we're trying to talk about, Josh. Only 5,942 damage or 941 now. That
all my damage basically is from the damage over time.
Yes.
Like 90% of it.
Yeah. Let me, I thought we run through this before, but let me, Mike, can you go to slide 17?
Mike might not be here.
Oh, is he,
He's dropping the kids off in the pool.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah. If you watch the Wednesday show and then the previous Wednesday show, we've gone through this. I'm not trying to be critical, but I'm just once Mike is back, I have a really good slide that explains why we do not care about that damage number up at the top, and it deals with the fact that if you take a look at the limited Spleen Blaster scattergun, it does a damage of I'm sorry, the Spleen Blaster is the non-limited one, but the limited one is the Bloodletter scattergun. It has a damage of 96 at tier 10, while the tier 9 one has a damage of 448 with no damage over time. So once Mike goes back, it makes it easier to. Okay, you want to go to slide 17. Okay. Josh, this is the reason that we've jumped to this. With just short and sweet. If you take a look at the damage on the first one on the left-hand side is the Spleen Blaster at 80, the Bloodletter at 96, and then the Absolver, which is a tier 9 older one, at 448. So we see 4.5%, 5%, or 450 to 500% increase in raw damage by going from tier 10 to tier 9, which is backwards. But then you take a look at the damage over time with, I don't know. Do we want to explain damage over time again?
It does damage over time.
Yes.
You shoot at someone, it applies a stack. You can apply max stacks of 14,400 of each type if you were curious. That stack does some damage every tick speed. That tick speed in this case is 0.6 seconds. That damage per tick speed is not listed, but it's more like 90 or so. So you do 90 damage every 0.6 seconds for 8 seconds total. So 1,200 damage over 8 seconds, as opposed to all the damage up front. And those stacks you do can be boosted by hitting it with more projectiles or with supercharge. So more projectiles is multi-shot or more weapons, and supercharge is supercharge. I miss anything?
I'd love that more supercharge is more supercharge. That was
supercharge. So 15 supercharge is 15 supercharge means you apply 15 stacks instead of 1.
Yeah. So every time a projectile, if we take one salvo from one Bloodletter, one salvo from one weapon is 4 shots. And each one that hits and impacts the, through splash or whatnot, or a direct hit or whatnot, transfers 4 stacks to the enemy. And so you can multiply that by increasing the number of multi-shots. So, at U3 with the right specials, you can take this 4 and turn it into 12. And then with the potential specials, supercharge, in addition to multi-shot, will multiply it up to 15 times with the specials possible. So you you get a crazy amount out of a single weapon relative to the base of 4. So we got 4 times 15 is 60. And then what did I say? And then 60 times 12 is 720. Am I wrong on that one?
That sounds right to me.
So these specials really transform this multi-shot. I could be wrong. I just sort of did that on my head, and I'm, in my head, and I've had a few beers. So, but that's, and so therefore you would be taking this DOT total damage, which is probably not the way to state it. It should just be DOT damage. Total damage doesn't. What do you have any reason why the word total is in there?
Well, that's the total damage that it does over 8 seconds.
Okay.
Not the damage per interval.
Okay. Yeah, it's sort of, yeah. They needed to come out with a game designer diary on this when they reintroduced this. Yeah, it's do not pay attention to the raw damage numbers. It's useless at the end of the day. I don't know. Pretty weak and rush past the building still.
Well, given that you just came back 3 days ago and the best indication we had was VSP targets a week and a half ago. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll still take damage when you, okay. As far as the strategy associated with this, the way I see it is you want to kite the targets and inflict as many possible multi-shots and supercharges and stacks as possible, and then get out of range. They will last for 8 seconds. And then if you haven't killed it, go back after 8 seconds and do the same thing again. So, okay. Is there more explanation needed, Derpy?
Well, I disagree with that approach. I think it's better I don't think getting to max stacks is a good thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. You skim by them and take the least number of shots incoming as possible, and see if your, 2 to 3 volleys is enough to kill it. We don't know that at this point, do we?
We don't really. Our best indication is, I think, the video TSM put out in these targets, where it looks like these things have roughly 15 million health.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know enough to. I would go with one of each to start, but if you want to coin some stuff at the end, that's all cool. But yeah, I'm putting one of each. I'm not putting any countermeasures on my ships until I see what the flag looks like, to make sure it's not a countermeasure ship, and being forced to rip them off later. So do you want to go back to slide 5, Mike? All right. I think I already talked a little bit about my impressions of Murderous Intent. I was, once you get to the 7 encounter stage, it's doable for not a lot of damage, but it is annoying. So, and it seems at this point that the Photon ECM is the best haul as far as damage and whatnot. in order to deal with this TLC.
I think so.
You love this campaign. Wow.
Who does? Oh, Josh likes it.
Okay.
When you get to 6 and 7 for the fifth and sixth time, then
I really like the ones that we had for the siege ones that we had with, those were fun. This is not fun because you're doing the same mechanism again and again. But everybody has their own opinions on things. So, I don't know. Do we have anything else? Do you want to, anybody want to talk about bounty?
Well, about half the targets were reasonable to hit. Half of them were made by someone doing a lot of hard drugs. Yeah, well, because the 93 and the 120 captain do not make sense to hit for the damage they do in any world whatsoever. The 93 still has buildings way on the outsides. You have to take another hit to kill if you've missed those, which is annoying. In my opinion, the level 65 or 64, whichever it is, and the 70 are way too grindy. I think the 123 is decent. It takes too long to kill. The 120 quartermaster is good. The 112 captain's good. The 120 quartermaster is good. I said that one. The 109 captain's good. I'm throwing out a lot of numbers at you. Bounty still needs some serious improvements, in my opinion, ranging from taking forever to scroll the map to the Golden Nexus being exploited to prize store not being great to click through. But it's really similar to past bounties, so there's that.
Okay. Do you want to run through? I mean, I've seen some pictures as far as the Nexus exploits. Do you want to show people what that looks like?
I don't have any stuff, and I'm not in the game anymore. But basically, someone attacks the Nexus, and then everyone else parks 17 different PvE ships in their Hyperion on top of that first one, so you can't ever click anything.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I saw. Okay. So you're not in the game anymore, so as far as going through some of the you don't want to go through some of the higher value targets relative to cost?
Oh, they're not here right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That is correct. Okay. I'm gonna put the link out there in case anybody wants to join and has any more questions. Yeah, the mines and bounty. Yeah, automatic damage. Okay. KB, Mike, Derpy, anything else?
no.
We didn't go through the designer or the CM diary reel, or did we?
The only thing that came out of the CM diary that was not in the calendar, because it was basically useless.
Yeah, it was. Here's what we've done this past month. Okay, I knew that because I paid attention this past month.
Yeah, the only thing that was, of interest is they're increasing the abomination cap to 3 in the raid. So that means that the abomination is going to be available in the raid. Is the only thing I took out of the CM diary used to be a look forward. Now it's a look backwards.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense. And they're not even telling us when the next DLC is. And
yeah. So yeah, there was not, I didn't make a slide for the CM diary just because of not much there. Unless you want to know who won the Tell Me Without Telling Me contest. So, Alrighty, everybody. I guess we will see you all on Wednesday, and I hope you have a good luck with the TLC, good luck with Bounty, and have a good idea how to move forward with the build. I don't know, maybe in the after show, me and Derpy are going to fight over, what weapons to put on your Ravagers, but that's probably the extent of the excitement. So, I don't know what 3 is. Okay. Alrighty, everybody. I'll see you on Wednesday, and have a good weekend. Later, people.
Hooroo.
Laters.